So here we go, guys. Game number 1, pick and ban, will begin right now.
So what we can expect out of these teams is that CJ Entus will play team fight. The top lane can play some carries, of course, but the meta has diverged into just flat-out team compositions that won a team fight with Jarvan, Sejuani, and Gragas as your main junglers, and that just means that you can hard engage all the time, pick the fights that you want. They do have the added element that Pure truly loves that Thresh, and just like that, it gets banned away. But that's what this team wants to go for, and the big difference for CJ in this matchup is that what they look like in the finals is that these challenger teams like to make plays that are maybe 2-3 steps thought out. So instead of, say, prepping waves, getting the wards in, setting the right people to the right place before going for the play, they'll just wait for the opportunity and jump on the gun right there. Whereas BBQ playing in the LCK, they should have the advantage if they just stick to playing around objectives and setting up plays in advance that CJ will not be able to keep up with.
Yeah, definitely do like the idea. A lot of the players were mentioning how AD carries are very important nowadays in the Ardent Sensor meta that we have, and BBQ specifically was talking about Ghost, how it's a younger player. He often struggles with nerves sometimes, but I even remember some of his games in LCK. He just looked really fantastic at times, but other times he looked like he wasn't even there. So definitely agree with what they're saying. I think he's going to have to step up tonight.
I don't expect much nerves to come into play. These teams and organizations have been in these situations many times before, so I think it'll totally be fine when it comes to their performance. However, that first pick Sejuani is leaving my head scratching here. You know, Veritas played Tristana really well in the finals. He was arguably carrying many of the games, and living it up might be a detriment for them, especially when Jarvan and Gragas are still available. Although if they take the Kog'Maw, they're basically grabbing a page out of the Kongdu book that they used to beat CJ, especially when they had the Trist as well. Although if my memory serves correct, it was not the Tristana rather, but the Caitlyn. Nonetheless, the Kog'Maw with Karma and Sejuani, just like you mentioned with the Ardent Sensor, is going to make for that crazy team fighting late game. That's going to be superior to Jarvan or Gragas because you've got the Glacial Prism.
Yeah, seems like BBQ kind of telling everybody from the get-go what the idea of their draft is going to be. We do see Gragas picked up here for Winged. If I remember from his stats, he had a pretty ridiculous record, but based on, yeah, he's 11-2 on Gragas, but I mean, CJ, they were 14-1 in Challenge, right? They're playing against lower-level teams, so as we said before, this is the real challenge.
So with these champions locked in, what we can expect out of these compositions now is priority on Orianna. She works incredibly well with stacking shields onto the Kog'Maw or assisting the Alistar and Gragas going into teamfight, as well as large amounts of physical damage already, especially for BBQ. Even though the Karma can be a flex pick we're likely going to see here in the support role, they need to get physical damage on this team composition, because when you're dealing with mega tanks in Gragas and Alistar, Kog'Maw is not going to be enough to shred. We've seen compositions that choose to run Corki and the Kog'Maw together, but Corki's been banned out, and CJ Entus recognizes this and bans out the two main physical top lane champions. You still have Gnar and you still have Camille with Renekton, so there's plenty of options left for BBQ, but they will have to likely blind that champion.
One more ban left here for BBQ, and you were talking about the Orianna. I was going to suggest it. BBQ took that right out of your mouth. Not going to let CJ have that pick here, as they do have first pick after the second phase of bans.
Cassiopeia still available, so is your Syndra. So lots of mid laners that are working quite well. You just have your complete standard champion, so there's no need to go crazier. And I like the Syndra better than the Cassiopeia because Cass will have a much harder time getting to the Kog'Maw, whereas Syndra can at least assist with a stun from far away or flashing in to finish him off with your unleashed power. So she has a lot more tools to dispose of Kog'Maw, and now BBQ have to realize that there is just too damn much on the field to get rid of Kog'Maw, so they need bigger carries to work with this. And with the, oh, this is dangerous. That's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
That's dangerous, Valdez. It's good into the Syndra, but it leaves you Karma mid.
That it does. They're going to have Karma mid. And probably going to be seeing, you know, more of that support-oriented Karma mid with the with the Ardent Sensor we were talking about. And Camille picked up at the end in the top for Crazy.
Great pickup. Love what they're doing here, recognizing that CJ is likely going to play a slow game, looking for team fights, not looking to set up plays too far in advance. And if Crazy can capitalize on that one and start playing those carry champions, we can see how in this specific meta, teams that play top lane carries have come out ahead. If it calls to mind, you know, Longzhu obliterated SKT in the finals with Khan being the one guy playing more carries and tanks out of anybody else in the world. And so, with enough time to prepare, I like that BBQ have taken the time to make sure that Crazy can play these carry champions. Game 1, blinding the Camille, and he's going to be up against Renekton, which is Seoul's most played champion. The matchup can be a little bit difficult at times, but with Sejuani on his side, the second she gets ahead, the second that Camille starts going into team fights with the Camille, or rather with the Karma shield, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, definitely will be. You were talking about most played for Seoul. He's 9-0 on Renekton, pretty much undefeated on all of his top champions, being Renekton, Jarvan, Kennen, 9-0, 4-0, and also 4-0 for Kennen. So, essentially giving that away. As you mentioned, BBQ had to blind the Camille in. And just taking a look at these compositions, what are you thinking? Who's got the advantage coming into this game 1?
So I think the early game, you obviously have to give it to CJ Entus when you have Syndra, Renekton, and Gragas on your side against Sejuani in the jungle. And they are facing a easy gank path into the mid lane because Tempt is taking teleport and not cleanse. So Syndra and Gragas should be able to find a lot of pressure into the mid lane, and they can use it to transition to assist the top side of the map. So pressure into the top side for CJ Entus can pay off, as it does hurt many of the win conditions for BBQ. However, if we transition into a mid game where BBQ is even, maybe 2,000 gold behind, they have so many tools to discard the CJ Entus engage. Rom Unbreakable alone can not only deter the Gragas engage, but the Syndra ultimate as well. So they have many tools to deal with. They just have to survive.
Well, we'll have to see how it goes here in game number 1 of CJ versus BBQ. A more dedicated but smaller fan base for CJ, I'd say. Well, we're getting some crazy CGs in here. But it looks like more fans for BBQ, which I guess does make sense, as they were in the LCK for a couple of seasons in a row.
Well, to be fair, it might also be the timing. Today we are live a lot earlier than at our regular hours. Maybe BBQ fans just couldn't find a way to make it out here at 1 p.m., unlike our typical 5 p.m. starting time.
Yeah, for you guys, we didn't really go over the format too much, but for you guys who are just tuning in and don't know exactly what's going on, today for day 1 of promotion, it is going to be 3 best-of-3s. This will be our longest day, starting at 1 p.m. Should end around 7 p.m., I'd say. And that means we will be doing 1 best-of-3 between these 2 teams, and then 1 best-of-3 between Ever8 and then Kongju. And then the 2 losers of that match go up in 1 best-of-3 at the end of today, and the loser of that is out. And then on Thursday, we do 1 best-of-5 between the 2 winning teams, and the winner is into LCK. And then on Saturday, we do have our final best-of-5, which will determine the second team to make it into LCK.
That's right. Today, we don't get to crown our newest LCK teams or our recurring LCK teams. We do, however, get to say goodbye to one of these teams for at least a split. So it can be a sad day for any one of these guys. We don't want to see tears. We want to see just good games. But unfortunately, at this end of the line, just wanted to see 2 good games is not going to cut it. I don't think anybody is going to be more than okay with that. We just got to see them both giving their all, going for that requalification. And so far, a passive early game for both these teams is what we can expect with the compositions. They're both more than okay with hitting a late game, hitting that level 6 on their junglers. And with no action happening in the lane, you can expect them to not even bother to look for some crazy ganks.
Yeah. I was kind of disappointed that Tempt was put on this support Karma. He's definitely one of the names that we've heard from other LCK members when they mention mid laners. They're like, yeah, this guy has got a lot of talent. He has a lot of skill, a lot of potential to get even better, but generally doesn't really, you know, like to go on guys like Karma I would love to see him on something that can carry a little bit more, perhaps even something like a Corki, but this game is not going to be it, and that means that the real focus is going to be down in the bot lane, as these teams were mentioning. It will be basically Ghost versus Veritas on these two carry 80 carries, if you will.
No, I would agree with you here that it would have been refreshing to see Temp back on something that can have a bigger impact when it comes to taking down champions, but trying to abuse the Ardent Sensor meta is not such a bad strategy when you're dealing with challenger teams, especially for a game one. You get to really feel out where CJ Entus stands when it comes to accelerating the game, making use of the pressure onto the map, and if this composition works, they'll basically know that CJ is not in a position to start cracking heads early on, even though they have the tools to do so. Because you have Gragas, you have the Syndra, you should be able to find a lot of pressure into the mid lane, and if they don't pull that off, the Kog'Maw can get to a point where with the shields, he'll be so strong. But first, we get our first gank in the bottom lane.
They didn't see that. They didn't see that little glimmer, and here we go. The rocket jump out of the way, but they're going for the Alistar, looking for that stun. Will be locked up into the follow-up Sejuani stun. They will burn the flash. A good start in the bottom lane for BBQ.
And getting the flash out of Alistar will be big when it comes to defending this Kog'Maw. Without him having that ult, that summoner spell, he's going to be in a very obvious position if he wants to set up a play with Gragas. So already, even though there is not a kill netted, it does ease pressure for Ghost and allows his Kog'Maw to scale as well as he would like to in the mid game.
Winged took that opportunity to just go ahead and ward multiple locations in the red side jungle of Bless. Even going to take away some of the Krugs here. As you were talking about, Alistar doesn't have the flash to follow up on a gank, but BBQ had no wards up until this time. Looks like Ghost is going to spot out the Gragas. Wings just trading a little bit of damage back. Doesn't look like either of these teams are going to go for any big engage.
It's good vision there from CJ. If you watch how CJ Entus plays during the finals, they really enjoyed playing around Veritas' AD carry. And once the first gank goes down to the bottom lane, not only does it help you with that, but it protects you from a reach. But Bless is caught out here against a Syndra, and you don't want to do that.
I mean, he saw Syndra coming in, and Winged with the easy follow-up smite isn't going to save you, or will it? The flash is going to come over the wall, and it looks like, in fact, he will be saved, but Ignite taken down. Along with that burst from Tristana, almost kills Ghost in the bottom lane, forced to burn 3 summoners down there.
What a turn of events there. Not sure what Bless was thinking going into the Raptor camp without any pressure into the mid lane, not even knowing where the jungler was. So at least he only gets to burn his flash just because Candy was out of mana to follow through even more. But that engage into the bottom lane was so strange to see that without summoners of flash on Pure and a wave crashing in, BBQ put themselves in a position to get all in and have to sacrifice both summoners of the Kog'Maw.
We got Sejuani hanging up towards top side, but there is a control ward that spots the Sejuani. But of course, it will be hard to get away from this Camille. Immediate, that Hextech ultimatum comes in. Crazy though, taking a lot of damage. Forced to burst away, but the stun doesn't matter. Soul is gonna pick up first blood. 1v2, he pulls it off.
The Renekton is just too damn strong, and that play itself is way bigger than what it looks like to us because the wave is crashing and Crazy doesn't have his teleport. Oh, it is disaster for the top lane in BBQ already. 47 down to 61, the first blood to Soul, pressure into the tower. Gragas gets to drop vision on this side of the map. The only benefit to this play is that at least they got to get the Renekton flash, but other than that, it's going to take Camille a whole lot more time to get in a position where she can now safely duel against this Renekton, who is already now a level up in about 20 CS.
Not the best start for the 9-0 Soul on his Renekton that they're going up against. So I like the idea. It's extremely hard to get away from the Camille, but just not enough respect on the damage. We're going to take a look at this replay and see how it went down.
Well, remember, there's also minion advantage to the Renekton, so he's already having 4 creeps attack the Camille, and even before Sejuani gets her, he realizes, wait a minute, I've got so much damage on me, and Camille even chose to return on that one just to see if she could actually finish the Renekton off, but he's just too damn strong, and with the Tabis now, the threat of him dying without previously losing a lot of HP is not there.
Taking a look at mid, looks like things are pretty calm in there for the most part. Kenny doesn't really have too much pressure on the Karma. Even after proccing Thunderlords, Tempt is basically at full health. And
it's like a cop-out lane. You go Chalice, Grail, first item. Probably gonna go with Merc Treads onto this Karma. He's just not dying to Syndra. It's basically like playing Mundo mid into an
Yeah.
You ever play that? Or like the Nautilus. Remember back when Rocks Tigers, when Kuro was playing the Scion mid lanes and these kinds of champions, you just have no business looking for a kill. So if you're a Syndra player, you get bored and you start thinking, let's go look for roam opportunities, see what we can do with Wing. CJ does like to play around Winged, as they have said so themselves, as well as BBQ. So if they can pull something off with the jungler, it should be worth their time. But with a magic damage jungler and a magic damage mid laner, I don't think they can even look at Tempt here.
He'd have to make a big mistake. I mean, he even has his flash available at this point in time. So, as you said, they get bored and they look for opportunities elsewhere on the map. Looks like they will head up towards top lane. Crazy still does have his flash, but this is 3-on-1 right now. Sejuani not in position, but Crazy is able to hook shot off the wall and get that, but looks like they are going to go for this first blood turret in the meanwhile.
The damage has been done. The minion wave gets denied, and they secure themselves a first brick tower. Sure, even though Flash was burnt, when's the next time they're going to revisit this lane? Probably not for quite some time, so instead of looking to force their hand in mid lane, they take advantage of what was already in play, secure that self a first brick, and this is getting Renekton to a very scary place, as now Crazy and Bless have a tall order to deal with this crocodile that has gone haywire.
Yeah. We talk about how eventually the Renekton kind of falls off. His mid-game and early-game prowess is fantastic, but we've seen players be able to really extend the power of Renekton, especially when you get this kind of lead. I mean, he's got nearly the most CS in the game. He had that first blood, picks up gold from the first blood turret. This guy is going to be going off on his own little roller coaster, and I'm excited to see what he can do with it.
Of course, Marin, Smeb come to mind when we've seen those Renektons, especially at the start of the split. We were thinking, Renekton, early mid-game champion, somehow becomes a demon in the late game that's winning team fights left, right, and center. And it's the itemization, the Black Cleavers, your Gargoyle Stone Plates, and I gank onto him again.
Okay, it looks like he's about to get his flash. He just got it in time. There's the Glacial Prison, though. Crazy, gonna flash that wall with the follow-up from Bless, but he's a little bit behind. Looks like the hook shot, though, will be able to clean up that kill as they finally pick up the Renekton.
Yeah, good gank onto Soul. He did not have ultimate, so no chance of getting that extra buff of hit points. And with the control ward on the Tri-Brush top side, they're able to secure that kill onto him. So they're answering back into the place where they need that pressure, because come that mid game, come the late game, if Camille was to get ahead of Renekton, CJ will have a very difficult time with this game. He is imperative to be getting ahead in this lane. Otherwise, they will be forced to look for suboptimal plays. And when you're dealing with a Braum and your playmakers involve Gragas and Syndra, you can't take every fight that you want.
Tempt still just hanging out. Might as well just get his lawn chair out at this point. It's not really doing much in terms of action. And we do have a bit of trading down on the bottom side. They were thinking about an engage onto the Alistar. Everybody does have their summoners up at this point in time, but no one willing to fully commit just yet.
Perplexed by Wing's decision to constantly visit. I mean, he's dancing in the mid lane, but this dance has no music. I don't think anybody's humming along to his tune. This is not going to work. Look at how tanky this Karma is. She's already sitting at Athene's with a null magic mantle with flash. Remember, she can always just use her mantra W to heal even further on the gank. So just wasting time around mid lane instead of looking for avenues to pressure top lane, a revisit here would obviously be working again. You could 3-man the Camille once more, but I like this change of pace. Going for the blue buff instead. You timed it before. You know you should be stronger in a 3v3 at this stage in the game, so it's a right call to deny the blue buff from the Karma, give it to Syndra, and then find a way to get her to roam to top again.
Hey, we're talking about the pressure up in top side, and you don't always have to get just straight up kills against the Camille. Of course, it would be nice, but going in there, stealing not only the blue, but the Gromp as well, just taking away as much of the jungle from Bless at this point will always be valuable. They do even spot Bless in here, and they're thinking about it. The Glacial Prison is going to totally fluke, as Winged did see it coming. And now with Sejuani with no flash, they're thinking about perhaps engaging here. Will dash over the wall, and Karma is nearby. And so they will not pick up any kill.
You know, I don't want to be that guy, but that was a first pick Sejuani. They committed the first pick for this champion, and I have not seen anything pick-worthy out of it so far. So hopefully there is a change in Bless's playstyle as the game progresses, but going for that kind of long-range ultimate when the Camille is so far from a follow-up onto the Gragas is a suboptimal play, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps some nerves coming in here. I think overall in the composition, having that big front line with the Braum as well as the Sejuani with Karma to help out is just putting all your eggs in one basket, as we said before. I mean, they do have the Camille as kind of that secondary objective, but mainly you're just going to be protecting Ghosts. So perhaps as we do get later on, we can see some more flashy plays out of our Sejuani jungle.
Yeah, but remember that the plays for BBQ, if they want to stay in this game, have to revolve around objectives. Dragon is available. Is getting the Mountain Dragon, rather the Cloud Dragon this early on a bad idea? Not really. You can get your Kog'Maw online. Clearly nobody cares about this Dragon right now. Making a move for it, trying to sneak it out, see what you can do with a base timing of the Tristana. Could let you that Dragon, as well as the Herald. They don't have to just go for blue buff top. They don't have to just go for the Camille. You can push out, secure the vision denial, look for yourself to get an objective. And here we go. A gank onto Crazy, but the slow is just going to be too much for them to want to make flashes.
Okay, big trade down in here. Even ultimate committed to by Veritas, trying to burst down Ghost. Tempt doesn't take any damage. This is just comical to watch at this point in time. Merc Tread's finished up. I like the idea, more of that action out of Winged. He wanted to get something done up in top side, and the Camille was pushing up just a bit, but they had it warded, and we saw Bless even heading up there if they needed his help. So he was going to be totally fine.
Now that we've reached this lull, this is what I feared would be the danger, rather the advantage that the LCK teams would have against Challenger. The fact that CJ Entus clearly is unable to formulate a plan that takes multiple steps and execute it allows BBQ to continually buy time into this game, to let the Camille scale, to allow Kog'Maw to still stay on the map. They have pressure top, they have complete control of the river. Just take a look. You've got 3 control wards down there. There's nothing that BBQ can enter into the river without CJ knowing. They haven't done a great job in removing the vision out of BBQ, but for the most part, they know when everybody's going into that side of the map. They should be able to secure the vision, deny wards, make TP plays onto the bottom side, go for Rift Heralds to secure mid lane. They're unable to move the Karma, but if you had a Rift Herald, you sure would be able to do so. And if they continue to be able to only take the plays that are right ahead in front of them, they're going to find themselves always being at the short end of the stick when it comes to the scaling.
Well, we do have a play towards this objective, but it is out of BBQ, totally scouted out. And we will actually have Tempt flash away as it is 4-on-3. Pure making his way up into the top side. Totoro nowhere to be found, actually, just supporting Ghost in the top side. So that will be that Rift Herald going over to CJ. And no way to respond by BBQ.
Good roam from Pure, recognizing that there's nothing happening into the bottom lane. It's just a facade, and their turret hasn't even taken enough damage for them to be threatened by a turret take. So he gets a go for a stroll to the top side, choose some river grass up here, get a Herald, go back down bottom lane. The turret's still a half HP.
A bit of grazing over by the Rift Herald, I suppose.
Grass is always greener on the other side. On the other side of the LCK, for sure. Not on the Challenger.
Oh, yeah. That's what he's looking for, that real green grass. But, yeah, I mean, he's got the mobility boots already. You might as well do a bit of roaming if you're going to pick up something like that. You see Braum has the Merc Treads to start. Already have a couple of Merc Treads on the side of BBQ. Going to Tempt and Totoro. Ninja Tabby for Sejuani and Kog'Maw instead.
And you know, you're mentioning he already has the Moby boots, and that actually ties into my point about CJ being unable to orchestrate complex plays. They didn't go for that Rift Herald because they had complete vision of the blue side. They went for it because they saw that nothing was happening bottom lane, and hey, you could just roam the support, have a 4-man advantage, and you guarantee yourself not having to fight for it. And that's not very complicated to do. You can kind of figure that one out after a couple of minutes of laning. You're like, ah, well, Tristana seems to be fine. Doesn't look like Kog'Maw and Braum are all inning anytime soon. She already has at an infinity edge, so a couple of crits here and there. You clear the wave with your explosive shot, and she can be left alone.
Yeah, she's essentially just solo laning down there for now. We'll see if Pure attempts to make another play somewhere else on the map. We see some pings going down towards that Cloud Drake, but nobody wants to touch that guy before 20 minutes, as is the way. We did see Winged pick up the Rift Herald buff. We'll see probably that being used towards the mid lane, and with everybody on CJ sort of edging towards that mid side, maybe they'll look to make a play here in a couple minutes.
It gets scouted and Braum is moving his way over. This is perfect from CJ. They pop the Rift Herald here. Yep, you needed a 4-man rotation to do this. They're pulling it off, and Karma does not have enough mana to clear this wave. This could net the tower.
They're going in. Here we go, the charge, but not quite enough. Maybe one more swipe. That is extremely close. Ooh. Thankfully, towers can't be denied in this game. But, yeah, so the Rift Herald does do a bit of damage, but they don't secure that objective just yet.
But that's exactly how you wanted to use it. Obviously, you could have waited a little bit longer, but ideally, you just have a 4-man roam, and instead of 5 comes to the bottom lane, but not enough members to commit here.
Nice cask, though. Knocks Totoro into the wall. Winged in the end is going to eat that Glacial Prison to put a stop to the action for now. Big fights onto the red buff, and that explosive plan is going over to Puri. He wanted to make it over the wall. There's that flash. He will have that engaged. And finally, the Sejuani does go down. Will that be the only casualty in this fight? It looks like that is the case. As a nice play from Pure, using that blasting plan to create an opportunity.
And this is the second time that we see CJ outnumber BBQ when it comes to an objective. Twice Pure makes it to the fight before anybody else from BBQ can make it. They outnumber, they can pressure them out of the red buff, and they secure themselves a kill. Sure, it was ugly, it felt sloppy, but they got what they wanted. They get the kill, they get pressure into the lane, and they get the red buff, and now they're going to be able to net themselves a tier 1 mid. So far, CJ coming out so far ahead in the laning phase with an incredibly calm yet effective early game.
This is looking good for them so far. Looks like BBQ is just a little bit more passive. Will we finally have an engage? The Kog'Maw chunking down this Tristana. She doesn't want to have any more of that. We'll be just chilling back for now. BBQ, again, not really looking for any big plays of their own. Just more of laning opportunities, if you will.
Remember in the pre-game, you asked me how these teams should fare out. BBQ should have been looking for an even to slightly behind early game. 3,000 gold, a little bit too much. But if they can secure this turret with a rotation from Karma, that should put them in a good spot to get this Kog'Maw with a Hurricane, get himself into a strong mid game. But they take so much damage here.
Oh, they're not even going to get that turret in the end. Bit of a slow response from CJ, but it comes out eventually. Even Renekton walking down into the bottom side. Still has his teleport, as does Crazy, who's getting to work up on this top tower.
That roam from Renekton, not a good idea. Missing out on such a wave. So in the end, BBQ does basically get 2 turrets for that one. They will get to push in the Renekton eventually, netting them that second tower. So this is good for them in the mid game. Now CJ, for them, it's unfortunate that they now get to swap the duel into the top side of the map, because when you're in this position, you need to be getting that dragon. It's so important.
Okay, Crazy is actually going in here, trying to lock down Pure. Is going to hook shot in. It's 1v2 for now. Totoro not really helping out. There's the Unbreakable, but the awkward angle, and Crazy, or rather Soul from behind, is going to take out Crazy in the end of it all. The nice teleport play in. Kog'Maw doesn't have enough of a front line at this point to continue going in.
Crazy just so desperate for kills. Instead of trusting his farm and the scaling, continues to look for opportunities to 1v1 champions. That's an Alistar with ultimate. He might have thought that his true damage would have been enough to make it. Whoa, bless!
This is not going to be the first time this has happened, too. He blows his flash again. Glacial Prison will lock down Pure, and now Winged is all alone, eating that damage from Kog'Maw. He will go down. In the end, Veritas could not save his ally. And somehow, some way, even though it looks sloppy again, they will trade back a kill.
Bless turns that ridiculous play into Winged overcommitting. A kill for Kog'Maw, and now shooting for maybe the tier 1 into the mid lane. They're going to be able to get the tier 1 bottom lane as well, as Camille is already down there. So how does Bless foresee that play happening? Nobody knows.
600 IQ chess being played by Bless. He's like, if I just go over the wall by myself 1v5, maybe I can lure them into a bad fight.
It worked. It really worked.
Crazy slapping that tower down. Didn't take much to take him out, but here we go again. Look at Bless.
Yeah, let's see how he does this.
What a beast.
Okay, hits the blast cone. And then Winged somehow thinks he can get past this with the Braum, with the Karma, and Sejuani crowd control, and just lets Kog'Maw be in a perfect position. Straight front to back line, him just dishing out as much DPS as possible. Already sitting at 2 items with the Hurricane, with the Blade of the Ruined King. And this is not our typical Kog'Maw build. Oftentimes we'll see the Wit's End being rushed at times, the Ginsu's Rage Blade. Now that pickaxe likely to be a Ginsu's Rage Blade, but it could also be the start of an Infinity Edge, which is a build that we sometimes get to see. We just don't see it that often because it requires so much more gold for him to hit that important power spike. But when it does hit, those crits hit like a truck.
Kog'Maw off to a relatively good start here. 1-0 already, picking up that kill in that last fight. Red buff is going to be up. Would be a nice pick for him to pick off as well, but we actually see Syndra edging down towards the bottom side. Crazy with some real respect down here, even without the vision, just saying, okay, I feel a little bit funny about this one. We don't see Syndra, and he will give up that turret to Renekton. Soul just pushing that one in.
It's a good move to do so. You know, now that you hit 27 minutes into the game, every play that you make, you must ask yourself, is this a game-winning play? How does this play facilitate me and my team to win this one? And if the answer is it doesn't really do a whole lot, you just get away from it. There's no need to risk it because it gives the opportunity to the opposite team to do so. If he stays down there, falls behind further to the Renekton, that's going to be trouble. Renekton's built to split push. He's not going with Cleaver into tank. He went Cleaver Blade. So he's looking to take this matchup to the next level. Now we've seen how it works against Kled, but will it work against Camille?
Locking down the Syndra. Will he flash? No. With the cleanse available. Eating that prison once again is Winged. The Kog'Maw damage is unbelievable. Looks like a deja vu moment in the mid lane for Winged as he gets caught out again.
0-2 Gragas. Those Merc treads are not helping him out at all against such a wealth of crowd control and damage out of the Kog'Maw. The physical damage is shredding through his fat belly. And now they're looking for that tier 1, but an engage coming out of Syndra.
Lots of stuns here, but Ardent Sensor already built on Tempt means Totoro takes pretty much no damage at this point in time with his own Unbreakable and all the shields. And so they will pick up another objective, and BBQ able to turn this one around, still behind on gold, but at least picking up objective after objective.
Let's take another look at that play onto the mid lane. So first they're looking for Candy, but you know he's got cleanse, so they're not going to commit a whole lot into this. Sure, he gets cut out there, but the second that somebody that doesn't have cleanse commit, they pull the trigger. Kog'Maw, he does not care who you are. If you have HP, he's going to take it.
After picking up that kill, he is 2-0, and now he goes back home.
Oh,
there it is,
yes.
the BF sword. Looks like we will have Infinity Edge out of Kog'Maw.
Oh, I was worried it was going to be a Wit's End, but the Infinity Edge is what they need. No need to be shredding anything here when you have a Karma and such a minimal amount of magic damage. Going with an Infinity Edge will make him be the ultimate monster that he can be.
Yeah, not playing the Pugmaw today. Will we actually have the Drake taken?
Oh,
the answer is maybe.
One dragon game. What a treat.
Here we go, guys. Big moment on the Rift. 29 minutes in. Oh, it's leashing. Okay, they'll eventually take it out here. And the next one will be Ocean. 30 minutes into the game. Not the most exciting dragon game.
If they killed it at 29, we would have gotten only a one dragon game, Valdez. That would have been it.
It's not their style. They want a little bit more.
But they don't need that much more gold anymore. They've already reached that mid game that they needed to at the right item, rather right gold amount to be behind. CJ was unable to further extend their lead, and with all outer turrets being taken down, this is a fairly even game with the Kog'Maw already showing his power. And that's one of the reasons why CJ struggled so much against Kongdu's Kog'Maw. When your tanks don't have immaculate position and the composition is built to let this guy deal as much damage as possible, your ability to tank gets cut in half. You can't just stand there and say, oh, I'll take half my HP and go down. If you go in there, you need to make sure that it's the right call, that you're going to die and it's what you want to do, or that you just don't get hit at all. You can't afford to take this damage, and that's what happened twice to Winged, and it could happen again to Soul and Pure.
Yeah. Even look at the itemization for Karma afterwards with the death cap, going straight for late game, no just upfront damage just yet. She will just be the chunk starter for this lineup. Chunk one target in the front. If he hits Veritas in the back, that's like almost half his health as well. So nice little idea for the Karma.
Not just chunk starter, Valdez, but also the biggest shield possible. You want to make sure that the Kog'Maw is as protected as ever. And now there's a locket out of Totoro, which, by the way, you know, how do they pronounce it in the anime? Is it Totoro, Totoro?
It's Totoro. Totoro. I don't really know. I've never seen it, so I'm not the best guy to ask, but is it Japanese or Korean? Hold that thought. Okay, Winged getting caught again, but this time he lives, and Pure with a fantastic re-engage. Bless will beat it. And now it looks like Ghost is going to be stunned. What a play. There's that ultimate coming in, and that big shield you were talking about is going to save his life. So the Karma doing work, but once again, nice re-engage by Pure to pick off that very important smite. The jungler, Bless, taking him out, and here we go with the Baron.
That was so close. Camille's coming in hot, though. She has all her summoners available. There's nobody that can follow onto Ghost.
Yeah, Crazy wants it. Their Soul going in. They get onto Ghost. The follow-up engage, and Winged with the follow-up stun. They do get onto Ghost in the end, somehow, some way.
I missed that one. The flash on Soul was able to do something. He's got teleport, so he can look to go re-engage onto this one, but it doesn't seem like they're going to let him get away with it. Sejuani's already here. They got what they wanted. Oh, Candy.
Yeah, Candy, he's grabbing for a little bit extra here. He's got to get his hand out of the jar. Looks like he will actually just recall. Give up on Baron for now.
We didn't get to see how the engage happened into the mid lane. I think that's what's critical. It was cool to see Pure going for the flash, but here we go. Let's see how Ghost or Totoro gets engaged. I think Syndra might be the one that starts it. No, they look for Winged. So once again, they're really picking on the jungler being out of position, but the flash pulverize secures the kill onto Sejuani. And just look at how much shield goes into Ghost here. The Karma shield keeps him alive, and that's enough to make them strong enough to deter the Baron push. Otherwise, that would have been a near game-breaking play.
We're going to have this sped up. We get to see how Ghost gets engaged on once again. He gets seen and immediately Soul just goes for it. Good targeting. And when you've got enough CC on your lineup and no QSS, I mean, he's going to be dead meat. Had no flash at that point in time as well.
The flash from Nectin was good move, and you spoke about QSS, and it's already in the works with the Null Magic Mantle already being purchased. And now we get to see what BBQ is going to do with the double teleport here. You've got Temp, and so many times we criticize Karma. What the hell does Karma do with teleport? Have we seen her use teleport? Maybe in lane once.
Maybe in lane once.
I should write an article.
I'm not even sure about
how
that.
Useless teleport for Karma is.
What would you take instead? Cleanse here?
Ghost.
Ghost?
Cleanse. Hell, I'd rather Ghost back to lane at that point than use teleport.
It's got a lower cooldown. Might not be a bad
right?
idea. You'll get back in time for the wave pretty much.
And nobody will ever figure out that you used it because it'll run out from Fountain when you get to the base. It's like, oh, he's got Ghost and Flash.
It's hidden. You know, teleport is really obvious.
It helps you secure the tether. It's actually not such a bad idea.
Yeah, keeps you in range to lock up another Mantra Q if you have that opportunity. See, the damage dealt in the last fight is still very, very favored in Kog'Maw's.
Tell me more about the damage.
The damage, maybe, is what we're seeing here.
Wow,
yeah.
So cultured.
It's definitely very much in Kog'Maw's favor. It's no secret for you guys who even just take one little glance on the left side. You'll know who's supposed to do the damage for this lineup.
Oh yes, I'm a damage dealer.
You got to do the Debonair Ezreal skin if you're really a damage dealer. Okay, we got 5-on-5, and CJ Entus goes for the Baron once again. Stun breaking out, and the Glacial Prison hits Pure in the front. Not exactly the best target. Ghost, though, with the fancy feet. The happy feet will dodge that Syndra stun. BBQ does deny that Baron play.
Okay, none of these Baron plays are going to work out if they are going to be clean. Nobody's taking care of the waves. You got to take care of your, it's like the lawn of your house. Your house is not going to look good if you don't water that lawn, if you don't mow it. That's what the minion waves are. You got to keep them happy. You got to keep them pushed so that you make every call after that much more effective. It becomes so much easier what you have to do. Do you pull off? Do you engage? Do you disengage? If you don't look at your waves, you're always going to be stuck between a rock and a hard place. And now we at least get to see BBQ paying more attention to it with Crazy and Temp in the side lanes. But until that happens, when Baron is in play, they and CJ will find themselves just dancing back and forth, waiting for somebody to make a mistake. And that mistake is going to look like more Sejuani ultimates onto Alistars.
Yeah, we were talking about how this wasn't going to be, you know, top-level SKT versus Longju kind of games, but still a lot on the line for these teams. I think getting into LCK is huge in terms of just, you know, feeling better about your position, the determination to do better, the passion to regain it, right? A huge boost to morale if you can come in. I'll hold that thought as Bless is coming down to set up a gank onto Soul. 2-on-1, not getting away from this Hextech ultimatum. Into hookshot, into Sejuani. He is going to actually dash away. But here we go, the Baron is immediately started. 4-on-3 over here. Teleport is available for Crazy. Here he comes. Baron getting extremely low. It looks like it should go over. Testana actually picks it off in the beginning here. And Pure going extremely low. Totoro even eating a bunch of damage. Are they even going to get the Alistar in the end? It doesn't look like it. One more Kog'Maw ultimate comes in. And Pure is still on the run.
Lock it!
Man, he is eventually going to go down. But a very tiny little reward for BBQ after giving up that Baron.
This is exactly what we can expect out of these games. You see somehow Bless decides that it's a good time to go fight Renekton in the bottom side of the map when he is the only guy that can deter the Baron. He needs to be present if CJ is to consider not going for that Baron, but because he's already at the bottom side of the map, this becomes such an easy call for them. Hell, the ward isn't even denied by a control ward. They can just go for this one. It's a 3-on-4. Camille didn't even make it to the fight.
Despite missed, Tristana picked up the kill.
It's so easy to do when you just put all the cards in the opposing team's deck, and so CJ now gets a freebie of a Baron and now gets to go for pressure in all the lanes. And it felt like they didn't even work for this one.
It was also funny to see Tempt flashing for that kill onto Pure, just desperate to find anything at the end of it all. Not the position you want to be in as BBQ. Small mistakes turn into big mistakes, as now CJ is pushing in the bottom lane. A pretty big wave. You're being careful about it. Not getting all too much up in the front. There's that Glacial Prison, but nicely timed rocket jump just totally nullifies that ultimate.
That's just disrespectful. To think that Tristana is not going to jump out of that one. You can buffer it so easily. It's like the Blitzcrank hook, so.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say, generally I don't like calling out players, but this has not been Bless's strongest game. I mean, multiple times getting caught out. It was funny how sometimes it ended up actually working out for their team as he got caught out, but that was only one time. And another decision to go into the bot lane, give up the Baron, leads to this, and now he doesn't have Glacial Prison to follow up into a kill. That's going to be one inhibitor immediately going down for CJ Entus as the base has fallen down like a house of cards.
Yeah, that's why you don't use the Sejuani ultimate. You need to keep that threat inside the base. That's where it really matters. You can agree to lose a tier 2 tower 40 minutes into the game with a Baron. That's fine. But losing the inhibitor that quickly on one Baron push, that should have taken another Baron for CJ Entus, and they get to do it in just a matter of one. That accelerates the pace for them. That puts them in a better position to take more and more out of BBQ's turrets. And a Tristana that builds full damage, as Veritas loves to do, is a very scary Tristana.
Tristana can take over games, especially after hitting 18 with the max range. Just gets pretty out of control. And if you're going to burn ultimates like that, it's definitely not going to help you out. CJ will lose their Baron buff, but already a nice chunk taken out of BBQ. They're now 5,000 gold ahead as we enter this late game.
And you know, that's why I felt like the Sejuani first pick was such a bizarre champion to go. You know that with the AD carry bans that were in place and the Rakan, nobody's going to take Xayah, nobody's going to take Asher, Caitlyn. Triss and Kog really are the two that go down the line, especially for CJ Entus. So why would you take Sejuani into Tristana that has such an easy time dealing with this champion and not only not getting CC, the atomization, dealing damage to it. It's such a breeze for him, and they willingly took this one. And it just has not worked out. A Gragas would be a more effective pick, not only at protecting your Kog'Maw, but in engaging onto a Triss. Same with Jarvan.
This is a funky engage onto Bless here. He is pretty out of control tanky at this point in time. They do once again bait out the Glacial Prison though, so nothing used for CJ, and they get another nice ultimate on an extremely long cooldown away from Bless, who is now even below half health.
He'll regen, but it just has not been his day. And I think the composition might be the one that's putting pressure on him, not so much the stakes of this game, when he is the only engage tool for the team. Nobody else can find anything against this beefy front line. And there's really only one damage dealer. He has such a big burden to not just peel, but engage against a team composition that has way more tools to do everything that he wants to do. You gotta feel like you're outnumbered here.
You see Crazy coming back, not split pushing, even with TP up. He needs to help his team out. I mean, he's got an opportunity to engage, but so much CC on the side of CJ that even if you go in there and get the magical engage onto Veritas, not even sure you have enough damage output to take you out. So here we go, Glacial Prison, this time onto Winged once again. That knockup is going to hit Veritas in the back, but no engage out of Crazy. They do not commit. They're just trying to push him away from their inhibitor turret at this point.
Nobody else can do more damage. You wish you had a Cassiopeia here. She would have been able to take somebody down, not only preventing so many of the movement abilities from CJ, but also committing enough damage to any of these tanks to force them to either flash out or just flat out die. It's hard to imagine, and this is honestly the last champion I expected to see today, the Karma to the mid lane from BBQ out of all teams, but they chose to go with it. They still have plenty more games to go before they either qualify or fail to do so, but hopefully this is the last time that we get to see this pick, and we get to see Tempt on a much more aggressive champion that can deal damage and not just survive lane and help Ghost.
Yeah. I said it in the beginning, I want to see Tempt carrying. He's one of their biggest players. I think they have a lot of faith in Ghost, as they were saying in the interviews. They said if he can overcome his nerve issues, you know, he can really carry the team. But again, at the end of the day, it still is a team game, and you need your jungler, you need your Sejuani to be on the same page. So far, I feel like BBQ as a team hasn't really been engaging all so well. Totoro is going to be stunned up here, as CJ is looking for another engage point.
Just a 5-on-5 ARAM mid. This is when no team can set themselves up properly. Waves have been somewhat neglected. They have super inhibitors coming into the bottom side of the map, and with Baron being alive, CJ does have the inside track to the objective. Let's see what Bless decides to do with his ultimate and Ghost's positioning. We need to see the ultimate not hit a tank right away.
Yeah. Okay, there's another engage. Totoro is going to take a bit of damage. Crazy finally going for something up here. He's able to lay down a bit, but look at the damage that Bless has sustained from Veritas up towards the top side. Winged is having some really fantastic positioning in all of these team fights. He's standing right in front of the Tristana every single time. He says, yeah, go ahead and try to Glacial Prison. Okay, here we go, coming in, trying to engage onto Tempt. He will do so, but no follow-up cast is not going to work. Winged eats another Glacial Prison, doing his job for the team. Crazy forced to TP back, and the bottom inhibitor goes down because he didn't have enough time to clean it up.
CJ's taking a page out of their loss to Kongdu, and they're trying to go into Pure, but he still have his ultimate.
Yeah, he's going to pop that now. See if they can burst through that. There it is, that true damage just knocking him out. And so they will pick off the Alistar, but the Nexus turret goes down. This is just, it's falling apart here for BBQ.
CJ needs to stay pressuring the Baron. Camille doesn't have teleport. They have Gragas with Flash. They can look for something. They need to get some vision control. Force BBQ into a bad position here as the waves pour in.
Okay, there they go. Bless coming in, getting the side hit onto Candy, who's getting low, but sticks around. That ultimate comes out with the help of Veritas. The cask is huge. And Totoro looks like he might just eat it. The flash on him with a stun. The burst forward from the Tristana, and Unbreakable keeps him alive somehow, some way. And now finally Crazy makes his way back. They're going to start this Baron confidently, though. As I say that, they're coming off the Baron. Soul eating a bunch of damage. That stun, though, to push him back. Crazy cannot move in. Looks like CJ can finally disengage.
The minion waves are still pumping into BBQ's base. They played that well. The Tristana has already proven to be a huge threat in this stage in the game, but so have Karma's shields. I think a tier 1 Elder is not going to do a whole lot, but it should swing their ability to take down this Baron and win these team fights just a little bit in their favor, and just enough to make BBQ double think about entering these fights again.
Would be interesting if they were actually double thinking in this game. But there you go. The Elder Drake comes down. Will go over to CJ as they ping the bottom side. Looks like it's pushing out for BBQ, but those super minions will eventually push in. so they know they're just on a timer here. They have Elder. No TP on Crazy. The bottom lane is pushing. All they got to do is wait.
Exactly, they wait, and with Elder, they can rush it. They're at a point where they have more than enough damage. Itemization is nearly complete for everybody here. So it's all about the positioning that they take. Summoners are not available for the Kog'Maw. That can be the big one, as Gragas does have his. So does Candy. If he can flash, hit Kog'Maw with her ultimate, that could just seal the deal.
Baron being taken down here. Totoro always threatening. There's the TP from the Karma. And that's all they want. They bait out the TP. And they take out another teleport on the side of BBQ. Now BBQ's starting it. Here we go. There is no wards in there, so they thought perhaps it could go. The Glacial Prison hits winged again. Nice big engage there from Pure. QSS is burned off of Ghost. Soul always threatening, but Crazy is going to help him out with that Hextech ultimatum, but Crazy will go down, burning that Guardian Angel. Now Blessed in the front, taking a bunch of damage. They will pick off this Camille, or will they? The blast is going to come out at the end. Blessed, though, taking a bunch of damage. Ghost trying his best to carry this team. The Tether coming in. They want to save him, but Candy from the bottom side and Soul from the bottom side will take him out. There goes down another. And it looks like Tempt is the only one left available with that bottom lane pushing in. Will CJ go for it? Tempt's trying to be the hero.
They're so low, but I don't think this support Karma has anything left in her tank to deal with this. Renekton's TPing in, and that should be the game for CJ Entus. What a call from BBQ. And when I mean what a call, I mean what a bad call. Why would you start the Baron there? The game's already over, though. CJ is going to take game one.
There you go. Took 50 minutes, but CJ off to a good start in promotions already. Let's add another kill to Veritas' total as the Nexus will go down. They get a good start here in this best of 3.